There is a hormone shrinking your hair follicles right now. And while you cannot change whether your follicles are sensitive to it, you have more influence over how much of it your body produces than almost anyone tells you. The body manufactures it by converting testosterone using an enzyme, and both sides of that equation, how much raw material is circulating and how efficiently it converts, are affected by what you put on your plate 3 times a day. Today, I am walking you through 5 things in the ordinary Western diet that appear to push that process in the wrong direction. Ranked from the one where the evidence is weakest to the one where it is strongest, and the mechanism is genuinely well understood. And I'm going to be honest with you about which is which, because you will find plenty of videos treating all of this as settled science, and it is not. Stay with me, because number 1 is in almost every kitchen in America. Most people eat it several times a day without thinking, and the pathway from it to your follicles is one I can actually draw for you step by step. I'm Dr. Alan Brooks. I have spent 35 years as a board-certified dermatologist focused on hair and scalp, and more than 10,000 patients have sat across my desk. And I resisted making this video for a long time, because the diet and hair loss conversation online is full of confident claims that fall apart the moment you look for the studies behind them. What changed my mind was watching the metabolic research accumulate, particularly around insulin, and realizing there is a real explicable pathway here that patients deserve to understand. Not a cure, a lever. And in a field where people feel they control nothing, a genuine lever is worth knowing about. This channel is where I say what I never have time to say in a 15-minute visit. Maybe you have already accepted that this is out of your hands. Your father lost his hair, or your mother's did, and you concluded that the outcome was decided before you were born, and there is nothing to be done but watch. And every time someone tells you to change your diet for your hair, it sounds like the same vague advice you hear about everything else. I understand that entirely. So let me be precise instead of vague, because precision is what makes this actionable. Now, before I go any further, let me set your expectations honestly, because I would rather you trust me than click. Diet does not cause pattern hair loss. If your follicles are genetically sensitive to DHT, they are sensitive whether you eat perfectly or terribly, and no meal plan on earth changes that inheritance. Anyone selling you a diet that reverses baldness is lying. What diet does, and what the evidence reasonably supports, is influence 2 things: how much free testosterone is circulating and available for conversion into DHT, and how inflamed and hostile the environment around your follicle is. Neither of those rewrites your genes. Both of them affect how fast the process moves, and speed is what your life actually plays out on. That is the honest scope of this video, and within that scope, it genuinely matters. So let me show you the pathway, because once you can see it, all 5 make sense. Your body produces testosterone. An enzyme called 5-alpha reductase converts a portion of it into dihydrotestosterone, DHT, which is a far more potent hormone. In people with genetically sensitive follicles, DHT binds to receptors at the base of the follicle and issues a slow shrinking instruction. So each growth cycle rebuilds the follicle a little smaller until the hair it produces is too fine to matter. Now, here is where diet enters, and it enters at a place almost nobody explains. Most of the testosterone circulating in your blood is not actually free to do anything, because it is bound to a carrier protein called sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG. Think of SHBG as a fleet of taxis, holding the hormone in transit. Only the unbound portion, the passengers who got out, is biologically active and available for conversion into DHT. And research consistently shows that when insulin levels are chronically elevated, your liver produces less SHBG. Fewer taxis, more passengers on the street. So a diet that keeps insulin high across the day may leave more free testosterone available for that enzyme to work with. That is the mechanism. Not diet creates DHT, but diet influences how much raw material is loose in the system. And separately, an inflammatory diet worsens the low-grade inflammation around the follicle, which makes it more reactive to the hormone that is already working against it. Two levers, both real, neither magic. So let us count down. And remember, I am ordering these by how solid the evidence is, weakest first. Number 5 is dairy, and I'm putting it at the bottom deliberately because this is the one you will see stated most confidently online, and it has the least behind it. The argument goes like this. Milk from pregnant cows contains naturally occurring hormones, and dairy consumption is associated with elevated levels of a growth factor called IGF-1 in the body. That much is reasonably established. The leap comes next, when people assert that this meaningfully raises your DHT and accelerates your hair loss, and here I have to tell you, the evidence simply is not there. The strongest research connecting dairy to a hormonal skin condition is in acne, not hair loss, and those are different processes. So my honest position is this. If you drink several glasses of milk a day, it is reasonable to see whether cutting back changes anything for you over a few months, because there is a plausible mechanism even if it is unproven. But do not eliminate an entire food group that supplies your protein, calcium, and B12 on the strength of an internet claim, particularly if you are over 60 and already at risk of falling short on all three. The mistake here is treating a hypothesis as a finding. Number 4 is alcohol, and the evidence here is better, though the effect is indirect. Alcohol works against your hair through several routes at once, rather than one dramatic mechanism. Your liver is central to hormone metabolism, and heavy or regular alcohol places a burden on it that can disturb the balance of circulating hormones. Alcohol also depletes zinc, and zinc is required for the enzyme systems your follicles depend on, and plays a role in keeping DHT in check. It interferes with the absorption of B vitamins, including B12, which we know matters enormously for hair, particularly after 50. It disrupts sleep quality even when it helps you fall asleep, and sleep is when much of your anti-inflammatory repair happens. And it is dehydrating, so it is not that a glass of wine raises your DHT in some direct way. It is that regular, heavier drinking chips away at 4 or 5 of the things your follicles depend on simultaneously. The mistake is looking for a single dramatic effect and concluding there is none. The damage here is cumulative and quiet. Now, before we get to the top 3, do something for me. Type in the comments what your typical breakfast is. Just honestly, whatever it actually is on a normal weekday. And tell me your age. I think when you see everyone's answers laid out together, a pattern is going to jump out at you that no individual answer would reveal, and it will make the next 3 items land rather differently. Number 3 is the excess of omega-6 fats, particularly from refined seed oils and the fried foods made with them. Here is the piece most people have never heard. Your body makes signaling compounds out of the fats you eat, and the ones built from omega-6 fatty acids tend to be pro-inflammatory, while those built from omega-3 fatty acids tend to be anti-inflammatory. Both are essential, and you need both. The problem is the ratio. Human diets historically ran at something close to balance, and the modern Western diet has shifted dramatically toward omega-6 dominance, because refined seed oils are in nearly everything processed. That imbalance is consistently associated with a higher inflammatory state throughout the body. And remember what inflammation does around a follicle. It pushes it out of its growth phase early and makes it more reactive to DHT. The mistake is thinking this means avoiding all vegetable oils, which is neither necessary nor realistic. The practical fix is to shift the ratio rather than eliminate a category. Reduce the fried and heavily processed foods where these oils dominate, and deliberately add omega-3 sources, fatty fish 2 or 3 times a week, walnuts, flaxseed. You are correcting a balance, not banning an ingredient. Number 2 is ultra-processed food as a category, and I mean this as distinct from the individual components we have discussed. Something happens when foods are engineered for shelf life and palatability that goes beyond the sum of their sugar and oil content. These foods are consistently associated with higher systemic inflammation. They displace nutrient-dense foods from your plate, and they are typically poor in exactly the micronutrients your follicles are most sensitive to: the zinc, the iron, the B vitamins, the protein quality. So the harm runs in 2 directions at once. They add inflammatory load, and they crowd out the raw materials. And this matters most for precisely the audience watching this, because appetite tends to decline after 60, which means every item on your plate has to work harder nutritionally. If a significant share of what you eat is ultra-processed, you may be running a nutritional deficit even while eating enough calories. And your follicles are among the first tissues to feel that, because they are the fastest dividing, most demanding cells you have outside your bone marrow. Now, before number 1, let me address the obvious question, which is what to do while you're changing all this, because diet works slowly, and your follicles are dealing with the hormone today. Everything on this list influences DHT from the inside, indirectly, by adjusting the terrain. If you want something working directly at the follicle itself, that is a topical matter. And the botanical actives with the best support are rosemary for circulation and saw palmetto for the hormonal pathway, alongside castor oil. You can blend those yourself, and I have a video showing the exact ratios. Or if you would rather have it ready, there is a botanical ritual called radix, built on precisely those 3, in a 2-minute daily routine. It is botanical, with no minoxidil and no finasteride, so none of the sexual side effects and none of the lifelong dependency people worry about, and it is backed by a 90-day money-back guarantee. It is designed for men, but the formula works for anyone. You will find it linked in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. And now number 1, the item with the strongest mechanism and the one in almost every kitchen in the country. Refined sugar and high glycemic carbohydrates. The white bread, the pastries, the sugary drinks, the breakfast cereals, the snacks that spike your blood sugar and then drop it. Here is why this sits at the top, and it is the pathway I promised I could draw for you. When you eat these foods, your blood sugar rises sharply, and your pancreas releases insulin to bring it down. Do that repeatedly, several times a day, across years, and insulin levels stay chronically elevated, a state called hyperinsulinemia, which is also the early road toward insulin resistance, and chronically elevated insulin suppresses your liver's production of SHBG, that carrier protein I described earlier. Less SHBG means more free, unbound testosterone, circulating and available for the enzyme to convert into DHT. On top of that, these blood sugar swings drive their own inflammatory response, so you are pulling both levers in the wrong direction at once. And this is not a fringe idea. Multiple studies have found associations between early or severe pattern hair loss and markers of insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. Let me tell you about Daniel, 52, a patient of mine whose hair loss had accelerated noticeably over about 2 years and who was, in his own description, living on convenience food, sweetened coffee several times a day, and very little else resembling a meal. He also happened to be carrying extra weight around the middle, and had been told by his own doctor that his blood sugar markers were drifting in the wrong direction. We treated his scalp properly, and separately he made 2 changes he could actually sustain, which were cutting the sweetened drinks and putting real protein into his breakfast. He was not on a diet. He changed 2 habits. Over the following months, his shedding settled substantially and, as he mentioned almost in passing, his blood work improved too. The mistake with this one is thinking of it as a hair issue. It is a metabolic issue that your hair happens to be reporting on. So here is exactly what to do, and I want to keep it realistic, because a list of 5 things to eliminate is how people give up by Thursday. And before the plan, let me give you the other half, because a video that only tells you what to remove is half a video. There are foods that push in the opposite direction, and they are worth adding rather than agonizing over. Pumpkin seeds are the standout, because they are rich in beta-sitosterol, the plant sterol that research suggests may interfere with the very enzyme that converts testosterone into DHT, and they deliver zinc at the same time. Green tea brings a compound called EGCG, an antioxidant with some laboratory evidence around the follicle and the hormonal pathway. Cooked tomatoes and other red produce supply lycopene, which has been studied for its effect on the same enzyme. Fatty fish gives you the omega-3s we discussed, correcting the ratio from the useful side. And quality protein at every meal does double duty, supplying the keratin building blocks while flattening the blood sugar response that drives this entire problem. None of these are magic, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. But adding is psychologically far easier than subtracting, and if you built a habit of pumpkin seeds on your breakfast and fish twice a week, you would be moving both levers in the right direction without ever feeling deprived. Now the plan itself. First, do the highest value thing, which is dealing with the liquid sugar. Sweetened drinks, sweetened coffees, fruit juice. They deliver the sharpest insulin spike with the least satiety, and cutting them is the single change with the best return here. Second, anchor every meal with real protein, because protein blunts the blood sugar response and simultaneously supplies the amino acids your hair is literally built from. Third, add omega-3s rather than obsessing over removing omega-6s with fatty fish 2 or 3 times a week, or walnuts and flaxseed. Fourth, be sensible rather than absolute about alcohol. And fifth, on dairy, do not eliminate it on my say-so. But if you consume a lot of it, an honest 3-month trial of cutting back tells you more about your own body than any study can. 2 practical notes. First, change 1 thing, not 5, because the person who overhauls everything on a Monday is back to normal within a fortnight, and consistency over months is what actually matters here. Second, and this is worth more than any of it, if your shedding is accelerating and you also carry weight around the middle, feel tired after meals, or have been told your blood sugar is creeping up, ask your doctor to check your fasting glucose and your HbA1c. Your hair may be the first thing telling you about something well worth knowing. One thing doctor to viewer. These are associations and plausible mechanisms, not proven cause and effect, and diet is one contributing factor among several, rather than the explanation for anyone's hair loss. Do not eliminate entire food groups without good reason, particularly after 60, when nutritional shortfalls are common and consequential. If you have diabetes or take medication for blood sugar, any significant dietary change needs to be coordinated with your own doctor. And if your hair is falling out suddenly in patches or alongside other symptoms, see a doctor rather than changing your diet and hoping. I am a doctor, but I am not your doctor. Now, one last honest word. I am not going to tell you that eating differently will regrow your hair, because it will not, and you have been promised enough things that were not true. What I'm telling you is narrower, and I think more valuable. The hormone driving your hair loss does not exist in isolation from the rest of your metabolism. It is influenced by how much free testosterone is circulating, and that is influenced by your insulin, and your insulin is influenced by what you ate this morning. That chain is real, and it is one of the very few parts of this process that answers to you directly, rather than to your inheritance. Expect nothing visible for 3 months, because that is simply how hair works. reduced shedding somewhere around month 3 to 4, and an honest verdict between month 6 and 12. And expect the rest of your health to improve alongside it, which is the part nobody mentions. Because this was never only about hair. It is about your hair telling you something about your metabolism that is worth hearing regardless of what happens on your head. So pick one change and start it this week, and come back and tell me in the comments which one you chose. Type your age too. I read every single one. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.